What's going on, everybody? It's your boy PTK Blam back. We are back with another week, another episode of the Shop Podcast. Let me know in the chat how you guys are feeling today. Let me know if you guys can see and hear me just fine. I just want to make sure everything looks good for today's show. Sorry about the technical difficulties. If you didn't know earlier, I sent out two different links. One, the first link I sent out, guys, I don't believe that link is a good link, so go to the second tweet. I sent that one out. That one should directly get you directly here to the show. So once again, guys, another week, another podcast, man. Let me know in the chat if you guys can hear me, if the sound is good. Just want to make sure everything is good to go. I had a little bit of things going on prior to the show, so just want to make sure everybody can hear. But we're back, another jam-packed week, another jam-packed show, man. Let's go ahead and just get started with our panel members here. So let's go and get started with you, Stag. What's been going on with you this week? Let everybody know what's going on.
Just streaming indie titles over on Twitch. I recently, like a lot of us, started playing the Fallen Order new Star Wars game, and I that's all I want to play right now. I don't even want to do this right now. I want to play Star Wars. I ain't even gonna lie, but we're here, and I love you, and I'm just kidding. But
No, it's all good.
It's good. I've been enjoying the crap out of it, and just want to play it some more. So let's get the show on the road.
Yeah, awesome. See, I know Star Wars got a lot of people speaking, man, so I completely understand that, man, because I know it looks amazing. It looks amazing. I've been watching a couple streams actually on Mixer, and the game looks phenomenal. I haven't got it yet, so I'm not going to sit up here and act like I played it already, but I definitely want to pick it up. It looks amazing so far. So let's go ahead and throw this thing over to Centurion, man. What's going on with you, man? Some great news. I know you said something about a video cooking up. We may be getting one real soon here.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm done playing double duty at work. I have actually a video already cooked up. It's on my hard drive. It's already rendered. I just got to make my thumbnail tonight and put it out tomorrow morning because I'm weird like that. I have a good group of fans over in the UK, and right now it's like going on 2 o'clock in the morning over there. So I try to put my stuff out in the morning so that way they can see it too when it first comes out. Yeah, I'm just weird like that. But other than that, I'm like Stagger. I'm living the Jedi Fallen Order life, trying to get in touch with the Force.
Okay, cool. Ain't nothing wrong with that, man. You know, the funny thing is, that's a great segue. I actually watched The Mandalorian on Disney Plus, and it was amazing. So I don't even watch TV that much, but me and wife are gonna watch the second episode tonight. But it was that first episode was phenomenal.
My wife came out today and was like this morning getting ready for work, and she looks at me. She's like, "Can we get Disney Plus?" I was like, "Oh my god, I thought you'd never ask," because I didn't want to pop
I've been trying to talk my wife into it.
Oh, so. Man,
I didn't want to be like, "Hey, you know how we have 1 million subscriptions? How would you like another one?"
I know, dude. Listen,
there's more coming.
Dude, my wife literally was like, "Babe, we should just get Disney Plus." I'm like, let's take a look and see. So she just went ahead and did it. And my goodness, man, last night,
dude,
just so much content. This show ain't even about that, but there's so much content.
But dude, like they give you the option to buy a year for like $70. Netflix doesn't even got that. I'm just like, holy cow, these dudes are out for freaking blood.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. Yeah. It's if you have not gotten Disney Plus, do yourself a favor. If you're into the streaming, if you're into just Disney, everybody has a Disney story. We all grew up with it. Get Disney Plus. Do yourself a favor. So let's go ahead and throw this over to Fuzzman, Mr. Barry White, Mr. Belvedere, Mr. Smooth. He only drinks his liquor with one ice cube, and a highball glass, and a smoking jacket. So, but either way, let's go ahead and get over to you. How you doing this weekend, Fuzz? What's been going on with you, man?
I've been pretty good. Been keeping up on the X019 stuff, and just playing some free-to-play game. Well, not free-to-play, but like this free weekend playing some NASCAR because I've been on the fence trying not to buy like sports games every year with one major change or one small change or whatever. And this time NASCAR Heat has the feature I've been waiting for forever, smarter AI or AI that you can work with. So I've been playing a bit of that, but man, glad to be here.
What's smarter AI with cars that drive in a circle? I'm sorry. I'm trying. I'm sorry, man. I grew up around a dad who loved watching NASCAR religiously, and I'm like, oh shit, here comes another left turn.
No, this time, like before with the AI, if you were in a draft, like I like the super speedway, so like Daytona and Talladega, when you were drafting behind them, you'd give them a bump. They wouldn't necessarily move any faster, or they wouldn't try to go around another car to take that bump draft to the front of the pack. Now they will, or they'll come up to you. They'll see that you have a run. So instead of them just sticking to their own line, they're like, oh, let me follow you, give you a little bit of bump. You'll go past the other guy. And if you stay up there, I'll draft along with you and we can both go to the front. So they actually work kind of like the way human drivers would work to some extent.
Oh,
Before it was just kind of like going through a maze of AI cars and just kind of weaving in and out of traffic. Now they actually work with you. So I'm hoping Forza picks up some of these AI improvements that other games have had, like with the what was it, Grid, and now with NASCAR and a few others that have some improvements, even Wreckfest. But yeah, been enjoying it for the most part.
Okay.
But yeah, glad to be here, and let's get into these topics.
Let's get into it, man. Once again, this is our fix, man. Everybody, if you're just joining us right now, smack that button on your way in. The livest podcast on the weekend. Make sure you share that link as well. Follow us all on Twitter, guys. Make sure you guys go check us out there. That is where we kind of keep a lot of our business, so to speak. A lot of things you guys can get a hold of us, links, things like that. So let's go ahead and just dive right into the topics, man. So first things first, poll of the week. You guys know what we do here. Every single Monday, I put up a poll of the week early morning. So if you're not following me, that's where you can find it. Follow me on Twitter. Hit the link. Follow me. Let's go ahead and dive right into it, man. So the poll of the week this week. Now, I actually had to make a change to this poll of the week because a little bit later on in the week, we got some different information about the whole Kojima thing. So the topic is still relevant, but I can't tie it to Kojima because essentially he was mistranslated. That came out a little bit later on throughout the week. So I actually had to change the show around a little bit. But we're still going to go ahead and talk about that situation because it is relevant in today's gaming landscape, essentially. So I'm going to kind of reframe the question about the comments. So essentially, I think the idea that he had about the way Japan thinks of games differently as opposed to the way we think of games here in the States as opposed to the way they think of games in Europe. So I want to ask you guys here on the panel as well on the chat. Do you guys think that frame of thought he was putting out there, that idea that these games are reviewed differently because of the cultural differences, how prevalent do you guys think that is in the reviews? Because I mean that holds some water. Now he may be mistranslated, but there may be something there just about the way we think about games. I don't agree with the whole we're shallow because we're Americans things, obviously, but I think there is some cultural differences there, and I think games are rated based on what we're used to. So we're gonna start with you, Stag, on this. Once again, not necessarily Kojima's his quote because he was misquoted, but just the idea behind the rating of games and the way we look at things differently based on where you're at.
I don't know. I mean, as a guy who doesn't hold a lot of weight in reviews, I don't really know how much of an opinion I have on this. I can see the standpoint of, shooters and stuff like that, and sport games are pretty huge here. I mean, sport games are huge in Europe, so are the shooter games. Yeah, Japan likes their JRPGs or whatever the letters are, and they love their RPGs and stuff. But I know, Western culture really has embraced and loves the RPG as well, and they want more of them. I hear a constant clamoring for games like that, not just on, PlayStation, but to come to the Xbox. It's one of the things that a lot of people feel Xbox is missing is more of that. So did they miss the mark? Sure. Are games reviewed different around the world based on culture? Sure. I think everything is. I mean,
true.
Music, movies, food, the way people dress. I mean, the way you're raised, the culture you live in, all of that influences how you view things. So yeah, I think it's all. Thank you, Ashtray. I think it's all relative to where you live and what you like, what you don't like. I mean, I don't think we can just say, oh, America doesn't like JRPGs because of their culture. That's a broad generalization.
Yeah, I think
and a stereotype. So
yeah.
And it's like just saying like every single person in Japan likes them fucking bubbly-eyed fucking mascots. I mean, they guarantee you there's some people over there don't like it. So I mean, just saying everyone there likes this certain kind of game because that's blah blah blah. It's just silly.
Yeah.
So I don't understand. Yeah, I mean, I don't. Yeah,
No, I get it. I mean, it's kind of a like I said. I changed the question at the last second, guys. So
you
kind of
did.
caught him, kind of caught him off guard. So I do apologize for that, Stag. But essentially,
You're okay.
it is a relevant idea though, because I think there was some, even prior to prior to us finding out it was a mistranslation, there was a lot to work with there. He was saying a lot without really saying a lot.
But
Even if
and he wasn't. If the translation was or wasn't correct, I mean, there's one thing that came out first, which was like Italian to English
yeah,
from Japanese, and then Sony came out and said something. So I mean, and the Sony translation had part that was like it wasn't even acknowledged in like the earlier stuff where he was saying, possibly saying that America, but when a lot of the bad reviews came out of Europe and the AU, Australia. So
yeah,
it's kind of, I don't know.
yeah. No, I think there's still something there. I mean, because you got to think about it. I mean, this man has, listen, we all have a different type of opinion about Kojima. What do you think he's a saint? What do you think he's an ex Picasso? And all he does is create hits and art essentially is kind of how he looks at games. Or do you think he makes complete shit? It doesn't really make a difference at the end of the day. But I think he has a great point in that regard. Maybe not a great point, but I think the idea behind it is a good idea either way. So I don't know about going forward though. Because I just think that traditional reviews, Metacritic, people are doing that less and less. Like in our little corner of the internet, we feel like that's where everybody's going to like get their reviews and I don't really feel like the general consensus are doing that. People are watching YouTube videos, they're listening to podcasts, they're getting their reviews, they're watching walkthroughs on YouTube, all kind of different ways to consume the same thing. And I don't think people are really sitting down going to these websites as much as it may feel like. Because we're just always on Twitter. We're kind of the hardcore group, and we see everything that comes across. We don't miss a thing. We don't miss anything. It's a single tweet, anything. So it feels like there's a lot of people taking part in that, and I don't really think that may be the case. So let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Centurion. So I got the same question for you about just the general idea of these games being reviewed differently. I know you talked about this. You've done whole videos about the way games are reviewed. So I know this is right up your alley.
Excuse me. Games definitely are reviewed differently by region for sure. Just because there's major cultural differences, like Stagger said, clothing, the type of entertainment, the type of food people eat, everything, like, when you watch the Travel Channel, you see places in the world where eating bugs is a delicacy. Over here, eating bugs is something like, very, yes, there's people that do it, but it's also, I mean, you definitely get looked at for sure. But, there is things to understand that, man, this is a really tough subject because I honestly do feel Kojima. Please feel free to send all hate mail, Centurion1307 Twitter. I really do feel Kojima probably did say those things. All of a sudden, everybody's starting to say mistranslation. How do we really know? The guy has done multiple stage events, and he had a translator, and the guy got it right every time. So all of a sudden, he must have went to McDonald's and picked up a translator for the cheap to do this interview. Because, I mean, like, he probably has some of the best translators that money can buy because he's Kojima. I can only imagine what it's like to work around the guy. And I could see him being a little hurt. He's gotten 83 from the reviewers. He's got a 6.2 user score on this game. Now, I understand there's people probably bombing that on Metacritic, so we'll kind of elevate it to a 7. We'll elevate it to a 7. You got to be
careful with that. You got to be careful.
Yeah.
We know those are janky half the time. So.
But it's just the idea of, it comes down to he was trying to mix both Eastern and Western cultural influences, like the idea of, the BBs and like just the way things they do over there, but putting it in a Western style game. And, it was definitely something different and new. Has it been done before? Yes. it's like taking a whole bunch of elements that were unique to other games and putting them in Death Stranding to create a very unique experience. But I do think he's very, very hurt over the fact that, maybe he was under the wrong impression from Metal Gear Solid 5 when everybody was supporting him and saying, let's give him a chance. And
that game wasn't that good. I'm sorry.
yeah, I mean,
anyway, yeah,
that's a prime example how, basically the gaming media industry actually gave him really
Game of
good
the year.
reviews.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Game of
because
the Year,
because they felt that he was being mistreated by the company he worked for and he needed a better shot. So now all of a sudden the world is seeing Kojima with the gloves taken off and he's unleashed, and they're just like, oh my God, I really don't know what to say or think about this whole situation. So it's definitely getting a lot of mixed reviews. It intrigues me, yes. But definitely when these comments came out, it made me really consider, does this guy deserve my money? I'm definitely probably going to pick it up during the holiday season if it goes on sale, purely because, it's so strange to me that I don't feel comfortable spending $60 on it. I want to pick it up for cheaper just so that way, if by some chance it does turn into something really completely out of my wheelhouse, at that point, it'll just be something I'll go in my collection and be like, yep, there's the most controversial game of the generation, Death Stranding right there. But yeah, no, back on your original question, things are definitely reviewed differently. It's like, God, have you ever listened to the people over in England talk compared to the people over here in the US? Like, I mean, they have a completely different way of speaking when it comes to like cussing and all this other stuff. Like, I mean, I've even had to stop and ask them and be like, man, what did you just say? And they have to explain to you what it is. Like, over here, that's what I'm trying to get at. Things are being reviewed differently based on the region they're in. And over here in the United States, we're probably one of the biggest consumers of entertainment media out there, whether it's music, television, movies. If it's entertainment, we're into it because you could see how big the entertainment industry is. My God, we have a city out here called Hollywood that basically, is the mecca for entertainment.
Yeah.
So definitely
Hollywood.
Huh?
I thought it was Bollywood.
Like, I'll be upfront. You want to if you want to talk about a medium difference, over here in America, we liked Transformers. Transformers was a good movie. Over in Asia, they worshipped Optimus Prime. Like, did you see some of the stuff that they were doing?
Yeah, they look at that stuff completely differently. But that's just like you said, that goes back to just being a cultural difference.
Yeah.
Between the two places. So yeah, you're right. I mean, it's a great point. It's a great point. I think that's going to continue to. That's just going to be. I mean, that's just the way things are. Like that's really, like I said, that's the bigger picture of what he was talking about. And yeah, I mean, we don't know if that translation was if it was actually mistranslated or whatever the case may be. I don't know if Sony came out, or did he come out and officially say, "Hey man,
Sony came out."
Sony did. Okay.
Yeah, that's the one thing I want to put out is if this was a Microsoft developer, or hell, any American developer for that matter, it doesn't even have to be Microsoft. It doesn't even need to be video games. And if a prominent American developer, manufacturer, anybody came out and basically said that the people over there are essentially stupid and don't understand, oh my freaking God, they would be demanding that person's job.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother topic. We can keep going with that. So let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Fuzz, to go ahead and just wrap this first topic up, man. So what do you think about what we've been talking about already?
Are things reviewed differently in different regions? I'll agree with everyone prior. Yeah, they are. I mean, from state to state here in the United States, we look at things differently.
Yeah, that's true.
So it really comes down to, is there some bias? I guess you could say it's that. I mean, when it comes to video games here, and at least from what I've seen and going through the history of games from the 80s up to now, safe games tend to do better than less safe games. I mean, whenever a developer goes out on a limb and makes something off the beaten path or something that's not necessarily mainstream, it doesn't always get well received in the beginning. Now, 10, 20 years down the road, it's viewed as a classic and it gets recognized for its uniqueness. But there's been so many unique games over the years here in the States that don't always do well, and whether it's because they're a first person or not a first person or not a third person shooter, I don't think really has as much to do with it as it does that there's stuff that's different from the norm. So if this was a normal game where it was just delivering packages and you had to avoid normal enemies on the street, I'm pretty sure it would probably get just as bad of a review as it does for its, different worlds or different realms as you're, phasing in and out of, I guess, reality or death or or purgatory or whatever you want to call it. So can I could see him being upset that it didn't get as well reviewed, but it we're going to review things differently based on our experience, and this is something beyond, I would say, at least this market's experience normally.
Yeah.
So if it was something more like, Horizon Zero Dawn, they would have probably been better received.
Yeah.
So
Well, to be fair, Fuzz, not to cut you off, but to be fair, right up until listen, how long has the game been out? A week? Not
yeah,
even a full week. I still don't know what it's about. I still have no idea what the game is about. Now, once again, this is just me talking. Let's not condemn everybody's, the entire Xbox fan base or any particular fan base. This is me. When the game is literally that confusing, the message the game has been. I don't know if that was his aim. He was intentionally making the entire, game that confusion. Each trailer we got didn't clear anything up. So I think a lot of it had to do with people really not knowing. Sometimes people say, "Oh, well, I don't really like to know. The less I know about a game, the better." Bullshit. Like BS. Because no, let's be honest. Like this game may have suffered from it being so unique, from it being that he literally. It's like the damn KFC secret. He kept it right to it. He didn't say anything about what the game actually meant until like the game actually came out. And he even said it himself. I'm not quite sure you guys are going to be able to get this right away. It might take a little
He
time.
even came out and said he didn't understand
exactly. I don't even. Come on. Like, let's be honest about what's going on.
And then to put it on there, did you hear like somebody did like a YouTube video of all the cutscenes, and it was 9.5 hours long?
Yeah. I mean, that's a whole nother topic. Once again, I'm not diving into the cutscene.
I'm just.
Yeah, no, I feel you though.
There's a lot of stereotypes. I'm not stereotypes biased just going about this game. Like, you hear people complain, "Oh, fetch quest." Well, Death Stranding is a giant fetch quest. Not to mention, all of a sudden people are like, "Oh, I don't like my games like movies." There's 9.5 hours of cutscenes, man.
Yeah.
It is a movie.
That thing is Until Dawn, boy. I don't know what y'all talking about. That thing is a you sure Telltale didn't make that? I don't know, man. I don't know. I'll be honest. I'm not sure. But no, either way. Now, once again, I haven't played the game. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I know what's going on. I've watched some people stream it. Just me with my own eyeballs trying to figure out what's going on, so maybe I can get a little bit more of a grasp. Obviously they're going for more of the art angle, less of the traditional video game angle, and I do applaud Kojima for that. There's a very, very thin line between genius and a fucking madman. He is towing that line, boy. He is right there playing. He's towing that line. He got the tap shoes on. He's on that line, man, dancing for sure. Because once again, I think the game in general just suffered from nobody really knew what the fuck was going on, and after trailer after trailer, it just kind of convoluted the issue and made it even more confusing. So either way, let's go ahead and wrap that first topic up, man. Great warm up, man. We talked about that for a little while. Let's go ahead and just keep things moving, man, at a great pace here. Once again, as you file in, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel on your way in, man. This next one is actually, I threw it in last minute. We were going to talk about the Kojima thing, but, I figured.
And we did.
Yeah, we did. We got to that essentially. So let's go ahead and on to this next topic. So this is actually kind of cool because with the recent release of this new Star Wars game, Respawn's done it again, essentially. Now, I have it. I don't have it. These two gentlemen, Centurion and Stagger, have it. Once again, I've heard nothing but fantastic things. I watch streams on mixers. It looks great. Once again, it does give me Force Unleashed vibes, because that's kind of what I was looking for, something along those lines. Something I can sink my teeth into, essentially. So I'm going to pick it up, but it looks great. And Respawn has done it again, seemingly. So they really haven't made a bad game. As bad as Titanfall 2 felt, to a lot of people, the game wasn't bad at all. It had one of the best campaigns this entire gen. If you haven't played it, do yourself a favor, go play it. We know what Titanfall 1 and how iconic that was when it came out. Xbox exclusives. I mean, there was nothing else like it when it came out. They're 3 for 3. So should I say that they're one of the top 2 or 3 devs this generation? Would you guys agree with that? They're doing a phenomenal job. Apex Legends does not sit up here and act like they didn't do that. I mean, it's holding its own in the battle royale space. I mean, it's they really can't do anything wrong at this particular point. So would you guys in the panel agree, as well as the chat agree, that they are probably a top 3 dev this entire generation? We're gonna start with you on this one, Fuzz. Would you agree with that, or am I pushing that too much?
No, I think they've definitely punched a lot higher than they normally would before. It's definitely an improvement over, because weren't they one of the original ones working with what was it? I can't remember it now. They weren't. I forget what they did before this generation, but considering how well Titanfall was, as far as the campaign for Titanfall 2, I didn't pick up Titanfall 1 until later because I wasn't as much in the multiplayer games at the time when Xbox first came out. But they're definitely on to something. That I would say most improved this generation. Top 3 devs, or one of the top devs this generation. Yeah, I would say it's worthy to nominate them for that. But in that same camp, unfortunately, BioWare is kind of, it's like one rises while one falls, I guess. But
Ubisoft and who was the other one? Like you said, BioWare. BioWare.
Well, Ubisoft is they're on a roller coaster. I would say if anybody is falling off other than BioWare, it would be Bethesda, but that's
Lord,
that's of their own doing.
Jesus
But
Christ. Ubisoft
is kind of like, they have, in my opinion, they've done well until some of the media outrage for Ghost Recon Breakpoint. I haven't played anything more than just the beta, and it was a good, I guess you could say, cycle of events and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't. I guess more people saw the loot box aspect of it, and that just turned them off, kind of like what For Honor did. So that's Ubisoft's downfall, is their loot box monetary stuff in the background. It eventually doesn't even get really used like they intended. But yeah, Respawn definitely up there as far as for I would say definitely for most improved. Top dev this gen, I'll sign off on that as well.
Okay. No, I agree. Once again, I mean, they've definitely punched above their weight. They came into this generation, had a lot to prove. Titanfall 1 sold well, was critically acclaimed, won a ton of awards right out the gate. Titanfall 2 did not sell as well. A lot of various reasons for that, being the multi-plat, a lot of other things. The multiplayer felt a little different, but that campaign was amazing. They had one of the best campaigns. I think that year was probably the best campaign I played, definitely that year when the game came out. Obviously, Apex Legends, that goes without saying. We see what that does every month. I think it's like 60 million, 50 million, something crazy like that every month for Apex Legends. And obviously then Star Wars. The game being reviewed well. It looks fantastic, runs fantastic. I haven't really heard anything bad about it. So just some small things here and there, but nothing crazy. So I'm really excited about that once I do pick it up. So Stag, this is on you, man. What would you agree with Respawn? Maybe not top 3, but like you said, most improved dev this generation?
Meh. I didn't play Titanfall. I didn't play Titanfall 2. I didn't play the iOS game. I've played the Star Wars game, and I really like that. That being said, I'm gonna hurt some feelers here, I think, for a second. Star Wars is good. I'm not super deep into it yet, but it is Star Wars over the top of Tomb Raider and Prince of Persia. So, I mean, it's a really good game, and it's a lot of fun, and I'm enjoying the crap out of it, but it feels, to a degree, just a reskinned Tomb Raider Prince of Persia. There's a lot more to it, I get that, but a little Dark Souls, too, because you play that shit on the hard difficulty, and it's pretty hard. Centurion will tell you. He's just playing that shit on normal, and he's like, I suck, but I love the game. He doesn't suck, but, it was...
Thanks.
Yeah, you suck, dude. You're so bad at the game. Just put it on story mode like me and just walk through it.
Yeah.
But no, I like they're Apex is great. I'm not a fan of it because I'm not a
Yeah.
fan of battle royales, multiplayer, competitive multiplayer. I like to be specific because I do like playing co-op games, and that does fall under multiplayer. Um, but to a degree, I yeah, they're a great dev. Are they a top three? I don't know. I don't think I can answer that question because
I know it's on the
I
spot.
don't feel I don't no
It's
no
on
no.
the
I
spot.
just don't feel like I have enough from them to make that decision that's done anything for me personally other
Got
than
it.
the Star Wars game.
That's fair. That's fair.
So they and this game's a lot of fun, even with my criticism of it being a Tomb Raider, Prince of Persia cover like clone-ish kind of a game. I don't care. I love Prince of Persia and Tomb Raider, so it's still really fucking fun for me.
Yeah.
So it's definitely not what you were saying, Star Wars style. The Force
Force
Unleashed
Unleashed.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
one or
yeah.
two. That's super actiony
Yeah.
in my opinion, and this is less actiony in that
Okay.
sense. This is
Oh,
more of like an exploration,
uh,
like Tomb Raider style, and wall running, Prince of Persia, doing stuff like that, and finding things, and like you do some battling, definitely, but it's I think combat's a little bit not in the forefront.
okay. All right.
So,
So I may
but
have to
no,
change my positioning on the way I look at the game. Like I said, I've only watched people play it in little small samples on stream. So
I'm
okay.
really enjoying the puzzles and just finding stuff and just doing things. Maybe I'm missing part of the game because I'm playing it on story mode, but yeah, it's a good game and they make great games. I'm not denying that, like because I have Titanfall 1 and 2, and I just haven't gotten around to them. And I did play some Apex. It plays well. They make good looking games. I can't argue that. I just don't have. For me personally, I can't say that.
Okay,
Top
nothing
three.
wrong with that.
So.
Nothing wrong with that. That's a tough question. Like I said, tough question. So, especially if you don't have, the experience of playing the prior game. So, no big deal, Stag.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So let's go ahead and throw this over. So yeah, let's go ahead and throw this over. I know Fuzz. That I started with you. So Centurion,
Yeah.
let's go ahead and throw this to you, buddy. What do you think about? I mean, Respawn essentially, coming back after Titanfall 2, and just with their recent string of games, and they've been extremely consistent. Once again, I'm not top three, maybe a stretch, but I just feel like they've been really consistent, especially starting this generation out with so many question marks. Them being on their own, Titanfall being their first game, they having a really high bar set for themselves because of what they did with Call of Duty and the team they were part of, the Modern Warfare 2 era Call of Duty. Some people say that's the best Call of Duty. A lot of people do. So they have the high bar set, and I feel like they've exceeded the bar more times than not. Now, obviously, the games haven't been perfect, but what do you think, Centurion?
Well, definitely, Vincent Paula and Respawn have shown that they are like the crown jewel of EA.
Yeah, definitely.
They obviously resurrected the Star Wars franchise out of the ashes that they were turning it into. And especially also they took, if I'm correct, they took assets and other stuff from what was left over from Visceral Games when they shut them down, who actually was making a Star Wars game. And they took those assets and some of the worlds that they had built, and I guess we're seeing them now in this game. So literally, I mean, he picked up the pieces and was able to, I guess, knock it out of the park. Don't get me wrong. You know, yeah, it's a great looking game, but a lot of people did make fun of the way the Wookiees looked. I did have to kind of agree. But other than that, the game's a lot of fun. I mean, like to just kind of show the amount of like detail, like when you go to another planet, you literally watch the dude who's in charge of the ship take off. I mean, you go into the cockpit, you can walk around the ship while he's doing it. Like he will literally take off and you'll see him leave the ground, go up into the atmosphere and get into space, and then make the jump into hyperspace, all while you're just watching out the cockpit window. And I just really think it's cool the amount of detail that they put into it. When you see Cal running around, you see the lightsaber hanging from his side and swaying, and you can even customize it, and you can actually make out your customizations on the lightsaber, especially if you're playing on an X. Definitely, they are showing why they are the best company that EA has. They are definitely going up to be in the top. I would say probably top 3 would probably be one of them if I was to start naming off, who's been successful this generation.
Yeah.
If you would have asked me this question, like, God, last year or the year before, I would have been like, oh, Bethesda and Ubisoft. But we all saw Bethesda decided to go out and shoot themselves in the foot a few times.
Fuck shooting the foot. They cut the whole leg off at this point.
Right. But anyways, definitely Respawn is doing a great job. And like Stagger was talking about, it's a game. Yes, if you enjoyed The Force Unleashed, you will like this game. But there is puzzles. Like me and Stagger, we will not go into detail or spoilers, but there's a part where there's all these balls. Then you gotta go play with balls.
You guys gotta get some context around the balls, man. Can't just
like they're massive.
You gotta push them and pull them
and roll them around. You gotta throw them into certain spots.
Oh my goodness!
One you gotta one of them you gotta break it out of a
thing, and some of the other ones you got to cup them. You got to cup the balls in a certain spot.
Jesus Christ!
Off the rails.
Anyways, so yeah, there's definitely a puzzle aspect to it, and also it's kind of like that old Tomb Raider or Uncharted thing. You're sitting there looking like, all right, how do I get from point A to point B?
I go?
And then all of a sudden you find out that there's like multiple ways to get in certain situations. There's multiple ways to get there, and you could create shortcuts. Me and Stagger were talking about how we wandered into areas of the map that you weren't really even supposed to be in yet. And so obviously you don't have the right powers or abilities to kind of traverse that area, but you wandered into it and you got to now find your way out of it. And so obviously you're going to be backtracking in the game eventually. But Stagger's playing on story mode. Apparently, he's playing on
super easy.
He's playing on casual mode. No, I'm playing.
I'm playing on like 5-year-old mode and enjoying it. I don't care.
So oh my gosh. Anyways, the whole idea though, like back in Force Unleashed, you would just run in and hack and slash and just feel like a badass. When you're first starting the game, it's kind of getting easier as you level the character up and get more abilities and more fighting combos. But you don't just walk in and hack and slash. You have to know how to block, parry, dodge people that are trying to get you from behind. You got to know when the right time is to throw a force, like whether you want to slow them down, push them. And the force gauge runs out, so it's not like you could just sit there and do all these force abilities like willy-nilly. You can't just do them all the time. I mean, you have to conserve your force. And I mean, there's an actual strategy to fighting, especially against going to multiple enemies. I mean, I have been beat down multiple times, and it's not like you get, kicked and you go to like the last checkpoint that, I walked through that door back there. It'll just put me back where I was at. No, you got save spots, and it will send you back to the save spot that you used last. And on top of that, if you died falling off a cliff, wherever you fell off, you'll have to get back to that spot to get all the XP that you lost. If somebody killed you, you will have to go find the person that killed you and actually at least hit them one time to get all the XP back that you lost. And when you play the game, like say you get a lot of XP, you get skill points. If you have 2 skill points in the bank, I mean, like if you're holding on to 2 skill points and someone kills you, you even lose those skill points. You have to go find that person to get all those skill points back. I mean, it strips you all the way back down to 0. So I'm actually enjoying the strategy of the game. I went into it thinking I was playing Force Unleashed, but that changed really quickly. But there's also a lot of fun stuff. I mean, you're also seeing elements of the Star Wars Battlefront games, like the have you guys played Star Wars Battlefront at all? At least Star Wars Battlefront 2?
Yeah.
The Assault Trooper, how you had the gun and he could put out the shield around the gun and have a shield around him while his gun was sticking out. They brought that dude into the game now. So like you're a Jedi and your idea is to reflect the bolt back to this dude. Well, he's now got a shield around him. So you got to basically start deflecting everything and get close enough to actually take him down while he's reloading. So they're even borrowing elements from the Battlefront games and bringing them in. I could ramble all day about this game. I've actually been having a blast, though.
Nice, cool.
Please
Nice.
do. I'm having fun talking in chat while you do it.
Yeah, what are you making fun of me?
Pretty much.
No. It's good though. So once again, guys, so essentially what we're saying is Respawn has been a very consistent developer this entire generation. They're going to continue to push the envelope. I'm really happy for Respawn because once again, if you don't know the history, coming off of Call of Duty, Vince Hemphill and his team didn't know what they were going to do. They faced some financial hardships, and I'm so glad to see them where they are now. Like you said, kind of being that crown jewel of EA going forward. So really, really happy about this. Let's go ahead and move on to the next topic. Keep this show going. And once again, if you're just chiming in now, you're just jumping in the chat now, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, man. Appreciate you guys always showing up, showing out. So next topic, guys, we're going to be talking about X019. And it's been a great week. That's actually the biggest thing that happened this week. So wanted to get everybody's opinions on X019, what they liked. You don't have to, break it down every single thing, but just in general, what you liked about the show, maybe your expectations, maybe what you thought about what you saw, and what they're going to be doing going forward. So we can go ahead and actually start with Centurion since you ended the last one. What do you think about the show, first of all, XO19, as well as, what now that you've had a day or two to kind of sit and think about the information, how do you feel about them going forward?
XO19. Well, for starters, my opinion is I did not walk into this expecting it to be like some E3 keynote speech, but also at the same time, I am an adult and can realize that even though adults hold a lot of the money for gaming, the mature is what fuels gaming. There is a lot of kids that play games, and so to have this idea that every game that needs to get shot out has to be an adult-oriented, mature game is beyond me. We got to look at it from the perspective of, like, look at Fortnite. That game is making money hand over fist for Xbox or Microsoft in general. And so, therefore, that kind of fuels the direction of where they take things in gaming, because they don't want to make a product that has a limited user base. They want it to be to where anybody can hop into it, from an adult to a child, because that's where you're going to have a very massive user base. So that's why a lot of the games we saw, like Obsidian's new game, and some other ones, even Rare's new title might be like that. We don't know. We don't know a whole bunch about it. But I wasn't totally upset about XO19, but I was thinking to myself going, oh my God, the critics are going to be tearing this XO apart, because there's not, like, they're showing all these games that appeal to a wider variety of people than versus just them. But if there was games for them as well too, like Crossfire X looked like an awesome game. I want to check that out. I'm even a Sea of Thieves fan. It's great to see they're still continuing taking on that game. Hey, plus side about XO19, we did not have controllers or t-shirts shown to us like the last Inside Xbox at Gamescom. You remember that show? They were advertising controllers. So for the most part, I was happy. I told on Salty's Gaming Podcast, I'd give it about a 7.5 out of, or an 8. Just because, it was what I expected out of Microsoft. You guys there?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, we left.
Yeah, I was like, oh, everybody left me alone.
Is Blam here?
Where's Blam?
Blam's gone. Are you done?
Yeah, I'm done. How about we'll just okay.
Leslie, do you want to go ahead and roll with it since we don't have PT?
Yeah. So for me, for XO19, for the most part, I was pretty happy with it. The main thing I was looking for was more information on xCloud. That was my biggest thing, and the fact that we're getting 50 more games into that. Plus, it sounds like we're gonna get it as an included.
Yeah, we can hear you now. Oh, we just rolled. We just kept rolling.
Yeah, go ahead, Fuzz. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, it seems like we're going to get xCloud included with Game Pass Ultimate. So that was one of those big things I was hoping for, so I can save money on subscriptions, having that all rolled into one. The fact that they're getting a lot more third-party help with xCloud, as far as, Madden 20 is going to be in there. You got Devil May Cry, you got Tekken 7, and quite a few other games that are third-party in there. So for me, that was huge. And they're expanding the beta tests, and they're also looking to put this on PC. So for the most part, having Game Pass Ultimate, which gives me like an included Xbox and PC subscription, and being able to do game streaming from my Xbox, or even just stream the games based off of probably what's in Game Pass. I'm pretty happy on that. So that was the show for me. Although things like Crossfire X look pretty cool. The kart racer, yeah, it looks kiddie type of deal, but it's racing, so I'll probably at least give it a try.
What? That's not up there with your NASCAR game?
No. No, NASCAR. I prefer that to at least look somewhat realistic. But with the kart racer, I'm actually kind of surprised, to be honest, that Xbox hasn't used our avatars for something like that. But that's a whole nother story. We'll get into that some other time. But as far as we got to see 2 new IPs, and they're not like the only projects that those teams are working on. So it's good to see that these Xbox studios are divvying up some of the load for multiple games being worked on simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to see stuff from Rare. We got to see stuff from Obsidian that's not an RPG. So I'm definitely looking forward to trying those. And then what was the other thing? Oh, we got a finalized date for Bleeding Edge, because I didn't get to participate in the beta on that, so
Yeah,
I've been looking forward to that. So, and they're going to add more characters. So that's even though it's only one more character that they announced, I'm pretty sure as time goes on, probably every so many months they'll probably keep on adding characters. It's kind of like the way Overwatch does. So kind of looking forward to that.
It kind of reminds me of Paladins as well.
Yeah,
a little bit.
But the only takeaway that I would say I was a little disappointed, only because I was expecting that there was something working on in the background, was that there wasn't another studio announcement, which they got 15 now. And the fact that these 15 are working on multiple projects, maybe there's no real need for it, but I was kind of expecting another announcement in that regard. But to kind of make up for that, we finally got to see some of the fruits of, Phil's trips to Japan with Sega, because I know that there's been a deal with Sega for the longest time that they've been working on stuff, and I just always wondered why Yakuza wasn't on Xbox, and now it is, and it's going to be on Game Pass with the last 3 games, and all the Final Fantasies, and all the Kingdom Hearts. So it's great to see that we're getting more and more content. Is it stuff that I was particularly looking for? Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy, not really, but Yakuza, sure, because me and Bland were talking about it earlier as far as like an underrated game when it came to Sleeping Dogs. It's nice to see that we're going to have Yakuza in there, even though it's not like the exact type of game. It's actually, you're more on the criminal side than the law enforcement side, but it's definitely nice to see those types of games make it onto the Xbox. I mean, we're not going to see a Grand Theft Auto 6 for a while, so having it where it's like an open world, whether it be criminal element or, law enforcement element aspects of it, it's great to see something like that, even if it's talking about different culture, even though it's going to be based around Japanese culture at that point. It's pretty cool. But, good show overall, and so many indies that I want to get to try. I know I already got West of Dead downloaded for the beta. I'm just hoping they have checkpoints, because I consider making it pretty far and then to die and you have to start from the very beginning. It's kind of frustrating, but I was never really into Dark Souls, so
No, thank you. Get all of that. So okay, cool. All right, so let's go ahead and throw this over to Stag. Sorry guys, here I cut out a little bit for a second. But Stag, what is your opinion? I know you the day XO actually dropped, or essentially came on. I was at work and I saw you all over Twitter, so I was trying to keep up as much as I can. So what do you think? I know you said a couple things on Twitter that day and a few days afterwards about just your overall opinion of the show. So what do you think going forward about the show, and how was it presented, and going forward, what's going on with Xbox?
Man, I'm gonna fanboy here a little bit. I thought the show was great. As someone who was at E3 and sat through that conference, I think that XO was actually better. there's a huge contingency of people upset by the cartoony nature of the games that were released. But for me, oh my god, that was like everything that I fucking strive in and play in and jump in. All those indie titles are right up my alley. So this show was perfect for me. Hearing Obsidian talk about Grounded, great. But then what they also said, like, hey, we make RPGs. We're working on RPGs. He didn't just say RPG. He said RPGs. Like, they're actually working on shit, not just sitting around fucking eating sandwiches together. So that was nice to hear. But I saw like some really, really good games that no matter what you like to play, they showed something for you on, was it Thursday, right? Or was it Friday?
Yes, it was
Thursday. I'm losing track of time. I'm getting old, so I mean, I'm super stoked about like the Artful Escape. That looked like just all the different elements with the skateboarding, the guitar, the fucking music, the art. Like, it just looked amazing to me. I'm really excited. Like Planet Coaster. I used to hate fucking simulation management games, and I love them now. Like, and that looked so fucking clean. And obviously Flight Simulator, but it's just a simulator game where you're flying. But it does look great, and it's been in works for a really long time. I like that Xbox is responding to the criticism. Maybe they're not responding in the sense of like long-term hardware plans or whatever, because you see people talking about, oh, they're just going to become a subscription service that like hosts third-party games. Well, obviously they're going to do fucking more than that because they bought 15 fucking studios and they're backing them up. And not only are they backing them up for big games, they're saying, oh, you want to work on that little thing with like 7 people? Go make that game. Go make the fucking thing that you're passionate about, and that's gonna be fun, because there is tons of art, tons of games, tons of styles, tons of ways to play games that multiple people enjoy. Not everybody wants to play a freaking cinematic walking simulator. Not everybody wants to play a shooter. Not everybody wants to freaking race a cart, or play multiplayer or fucking sail a ship. We all want to do some of that, maybe none of that, and maybe just one part of it. But Xbox is definitely coming out and saying, we're going to give you all of that.
Okay.
And that's huge to me. And like the xCloud shit being like pushed more, adding more games. Like I didn't have luck the first night. I mean, I've had really good luck playing with it. Like when it first launched in the preview, I played some Gears and I played some Halo, had no problem. The first Thursday night when they added the 50 games, I tried to play Madden, and I got 3 delay games in a row because of latency, so I gave up on that. And then I tried to play West of Dead because I don't know if it's in everybody's xCloud preview, but I know that whatever level I'm in for preview program, maybe that's why I got it, but that's in there as well, so you can play the beta of West of Dead, I think. I tried to play it, but latency was kind of bad again, and it was just like, I don't think that game's made for a small screen, to be honest with you. It's pretty dark. Like, there's just the art style is like, it's a darker. Maybe I'm just old, but it just looks like it would be better played on a screen. There was just so much, and like throwing dude, they are all in on Game Pass. I was reading something earlier today about how like Game Pass is dictating what they do as a business now.
Dude, I hate the devaluation of games freaking theory.
I can't stand that.
No, but that it's just dictating how Microsoft is running their business model now, in the sense of this is how we're going to make a lot of money. And there's, in my opinion, nothing wrong with that, because if they make a lot of money and it's super successful, that money will go to devs that want to be in the program. Will they make as much as they would selling their games on their own in the Microsoft store? Maybe, maybe not. But I mean, look at how quickly games go on sale. Let's take like the Nintendo market for instance. They have games on sale for like 90 cents to $1. Sure, you're making some money, but if you could get a flat rate up front from a company, and they're going to expose your game and say, hey, we're just going to throw all this money at you to let us have it in here for 6 months. It's guaranteed fucking money in your pocket. More people are going to see that game because streamers are going to play it, YouTubers are going to make videos on it, and it's going to show up on your dashboard in Game Pass, and it might leave, and you might buy it, and you might even buy it after you've played it in Game Pass at a discounted rate. So that, I mean, there's a lot of money for devs to be made in the Game Pass model.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, And then, I mean, and what? You're getting Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts, right?
Yakuza.
Right,
Yeah,
Kingdom Hearts
complete
isn't coming to
collection.
Gamecast. Final Fantasy is, but Kingdom Hearts is coming to Xbox. So that's, man.
I wonder if that's an underlying thing on Xbox trying to let people know that Final Fantasy VII Remake is definitely probably going to make it to the Xbox
And
console.
I think that they by everything they announced, and just this is my opinion, but everything that they announced and they showed and the things they said, they're ready for Stadia. They're ready for the next gen. They're ready to end. This was an end of gen show, and it really did really good. Like a lot of people were like, "Oh, it was okay. It was underwhelming. A lot of cartoony games." But this is the end of a generation.
Yeah, what the fuck is y'all expecting? Like,
I don't know what you expect. Like I didn't
I don't
expect
know.
anything on Scarlet. I didn't expect anything on Halo or anything next gen
I don't.
because there's more. There's what? It's not even fucking 2020 yet. There's still 8 months till fucking E3.
Yeah, we got a couple big
They can
releases
trickle
left.
shit out, and E3 is gonna be hyped for both platforms
Yeah,
because I
it's gonna be
expect
crazy.
Sony to be there. It would be
Oh,
E3
absolutely,
would be a battle zone.
Oh,
Sony
yeah,
not
absolutely.
being there would be a very bad. I don't see them doing a state of play for
Yeah, they're
their
not doing
console
that. Yeah,
reveal.
that's
You
not
know,
gonna
they
happen.
want to have people get hands on that thing. Both console makers are. I mean, maybe man, it'd be nice if we got hands on at E3, but
Yeah.
I just think they made a statement about where they're going with the future, and I mean, they've already been making those statements with the acquisitions and saying, hey, we're going to pump out a new game every month or two, blah, blah, blah. And we're constantly going to have a game cycle, and we're going to cover PC, we're going to cover fucking console, and we're going to bring you the games that we don't have. And they showed that with Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts. I mean, they're bringing that Crossfire shit, which is another genre of games, the Age of Empires. I mean, they're hitting every angle now. I mean, now if they can get these JRPGs, granted, I don't know if you're ever going to get Japan the way Sony's got Japan, and I don't know if you're ever going to take over Sony in the first place, but the king never stays king. It's never happened ever in any industry, fucking families, cultures. No one stays in charge or at the top forever. So there's always somebody underneath you trying harder, working harder, doing more, and at some point you're gonna fuck up, and that person's gonna jump forward. So
now, if I can,
go ahead.
I just want to ask you because I have to agree with like So Shady and the whole situation. Everybody's like tearing into Rare. Like, how can you guys be excited for Rare? You know, just look at the IP they're creating for you guys. You don't even know what it's about, and it's another cartoony looking
Everwild thing.
Everwild.
Yeah, it looks
that game.
I'm intrigued. Yeah, what are you talking about?
I'm curious.
Yeah.
Oh, but that's the only thing I had left. Everybody's like, oh, physically demanding. It's like, do you guys understand how graphically demanding Sea of Thieves is?
So
that's a very seriously graphically demanding game.
People are being super critical about that game, but like, what was that game that Sony showed a few times back where it was like the evolution of an animal and like you went through the forest and all that shit?
Yeah,
and then there was that one where it was like
but
people coming at like thousands of fucking people on the screen at one time, and you had to do different things and stuff. It's just like
what I was getting at is everybody's like, oh, it's hard to get hyped for what Rare's creating. Well, for starters, that's Rare's art style. You know, there's some really good games out there that have a unique art style. You
Breath
know,
of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild.
It reminds me of Breath of the Wild.
And then the big kind of thing that kind of shot everybody in the foot that was making these comments, in my opinion, you shot yourselves in the foot, was how can you get hyped for a game you know nothing about? Death Stranding. How can you get hyped for a game that you know nothing about?
You don't know what it's about even when you play it. So no.
That's why I'm just like, man, you know, that's why I was perfectly fine with XO, but now you're getting all these people that are making, in my opinion, try hard arguments.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
Back to you, Stagger. Sorry.
It gets ridiculous.
No, you're good, man. I enjoyed the show. I enjoyed what I saw. As an indie streamer, it lined up for me. You know, an indie gamer. I play AAAs. I play both platforms, but I enjoyed the show. I was excited about stuff. I took notes. I'm really looking forward to I
took notes through in the background. Yeah, I hear papers.
Yeah, I was checking my second page, man.
But no, that game Grounded, I still got to watch it because I actually I listened to it at work, so I have mostly audio. I would tune in every now and then just to see what was on the screen. But I want to show my wife that game Grounded because I think that would be an
Honey, I
awesome
Shrunk
game
the
for me and
Kids?
her to
Hell
play
yeah, it
together.
looks good.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing I was impressed about the most was the variety, and I think this is something that Xbox has done extremely well this generation. I don't think they've gotten enough credit. Is the variety of games they've been able to walk out on the stage and present to us, like from small indie games, from single A to double A to triple A. They've been able to have that variety, and that's something that people criticize them for heavily this generation. They don't have any variety. It's just shooters and Gears, Halo Forza, Gears, Halo Forza. No, there's a lot more to Xbox and Gears, Halo Forza. The more
Yeah, I
things.
mean, if you want to have fun gameplay, you're getting that.
Yeah, you're getting variety, and let's be honest. Like you said, it's the end of the generation. I mean, we know we got new consoles coming next generation. And within 12 months, we got brand new consoles coming out. We know both studios, if not all three, are gearing up for this change. It's gonna happen. Let's not sit up here and act like that was supposed to be, like he said, some kind of E3 keynote. Okay, I'm like I said, anytime I get brand new information, that excites me. I don't give a fuck what it's about. I'll process the information if I don't care about it or if it's not something I'm excited for. It's still new information at the end of the day. So let's go ahead and move on to the last topic of the podcast, man. We got things rolling here today. So, last topic is actually a pretty cool one. It's just your gaming goal for 2020. So, I know I talk a lot about things we've done as far as gamers. We got a lot in common, got a lot of habits, good and bad habits, but I want to talk about gaming goals in 2020. So, what's your gaming goal for 2020? Let us know in the chat what your goal is for 2020 in the gaming area. So, we're going to start with you, Stag. Any goals you have for gaming in 2020?
I mean, I could just do the old cliche, fucking work on the backlog, but I mean, let's be realistic. That ain't ever gonna fucking happen. I mean, I'm just gonna try. Not try. I'm gonna continue to play a lot of indie titles and stream them and showcase them for people because they need a lot of exposure. There's enough people enamored with AAA high-end graphic games that I don't feel like I need to be a voice for those games. I enjoy those games, but my goal would be to get more people to embrace the kiddie cartoony games that are actually a lot of fun, Chris.
I didn't even see him down in the he down. Oh, he is in the chat. Shout out to
Oh yeah,
Chris
he's
in the
here.
chat.
That's why I gave him a shout
Oh
out.
my goodness, too much. Right on time too, man. But either way, so no, great point. You're right. So I mean that's a good point. You become, and I appreciate that. That's one thing about you, Stag, is that you fucking do what you want to do. You play what you want to play. You don't make
Yeah,
any
nobody.
excuses about what you want to play.
You're not gonna define what I'm gonna do. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like you like the games you like, and I appreciate and respect that. For everybody in the chat, on the panel, online. I mean, I might disagree with you, but I can respect the fact that you fucking like something that I don't like. I like something you don't like. Not everybody likes metal. Not everybody likes fucking oysters. There's a ton of things not everybody likes. That's
Are we talking about?
why there
Are we
is
talking about our favorite guy in the chat?
variety. That's why
Yeah.
there's variety.
Man,
You know what I mean?
I don't want to be mean, but it's just like, man, I have an awesome wife that is not a hardcore gamer like I am. So a game like that appeals to her, and to be able to sit down and play a game with my wife. I play games with my bros and my friends on Xbox all damn day long. I will drop it in a second to be able to play a game with my wife.
Yeah, there's something for all
Something
of
for
us, and
everybody.
I think all of that just doesn't need to happen because we love gaming first and foremost. And to argue about it and to just say this is shit and that's shit and this is better, this is whatever, is just ridiculous. And we should get along. And that would be like, honestly, in addition to getting the people to play indies, is if we could just stop and come together, that would be a great goal for everybody in fucking 2020 to just be like, hey, yeah, you like something different than me. I don't need to shit on you because of it. It's a weird dichotomy.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Good point. No, good point. Once again, guys, gaming goals of 2020 doesn't matter how unrealistic or realistic they are. So that was Stags from the She Shed, live from the She Shed as usual every Saturday. But either way, let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Fuzz, man. Gaming goals for 2020, man.
Give back more to the Forza community. Get more involved in doing liveries, tunes, and some videos and stuff, or just videos in general about racing as opposed to just replays of me racing. Try to not buy games that I have no time or immediate interest to play, and adding to the backlog. So try to manage the backlog a little bit better. I mean, right now, Game Pass for me is becoming the backlog capital as far as all the games that they're adding. Now it looks like they're going to be adding a lot more games. I gotta kind of filter through that a little bit better and stuff like that, so I don't have games I buy. It's like, oh yeah, because didn't get Jedi or the Star Wars game yet. Waiting until the holiday, but we'll definitely pick it up. But yeah, try to be better at not building the backlog, and then finally try to, I don't know, be more consistent playing on some of the games with you guys, as far as whether it be Division or Plants vs Zombies or any other game or Gears or anything like that. That's pretty much it.
Okay. All right, nothing wrong with that, man. So my gaming goal essentially, just to take my turn here. Like you said, you can always do the cliche backlog thing. We all need to clear up the backlog, but that, like you said, that's never gonna fucking happen. We're gonna keep saying that to the end of time, and none of us are gonna ever clear the backlog. We're just gonna buy more games and continue to pile on top. But either way, thinking about it, you know what? I think for me, it's more so just related to the talk around gaming. I think I'm gonna just partake less in the nonsense. I don't partake it a lot anyway, but just even less. Like, I just think I'm not even gonna entertain the BS this year. I just feel like, because it does distract you from why we all do this, and like why we all, what we're all talking about. Like, why are we having this podcast? Because the common denominator is we're all gamers, and essentially we all have this love for video games. So I'm just gonna stop partaking in and just doing anything that just relates to or adds to that the bad things that go on in their Twitter community, and just that surround gaming as a whole, be a little bit more positive going forward. So I like to think that the podcast is generally positive, but just going forward, me personally, just want to do some better things there. Obviously for the YouTube channel, build on that. Play more games too. I'm gonna definitely get into streaming too. So I was talking about that, but I'm definitely gonna get into that. Really, really serious about that, because I think streaming is incredibly fun, no matter what platform you're on, whether it be Mixer and Twitch or whatever else you can stream on. So I think that's one thing that I'm gonna do more of in 2020. So once again, let us know in the chat what you guys are going to be doing, your gaming goals for 2020. But that's pretty much going to wrap things up, man. That hour flew by incredibly quick. But once
Did I get skipped?
Yeah, you did.
Did you? Oh, I'm so sorry.
Man, I am chopped liver tonight. I see how it rolls.
You just butted in. So
you were talking. Yeah, you were talking. So I thought maybe that was you.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Go ahead.
No, our favorite buddy in the chat kind of got to me when he said that. That's why I butted in.
That's why I was here,
That's
man.
why. Yeah. So yeah. Sorry.
See,
trying to disrupt
my
the flow.
fault. No, yeah. I thought that was you kind of taking your turn there. But either go ahead I do not want to cut you off, brother. Go ahead, do what you got to do.
No, I was just wondering. No, you're right. That would be gaming goal for me, was to not feed into stuff like that, I guess. I think, God, man, I don't even know why I asked to go, because you guys named them all. Backlogs, not feeding into the toxicity. But I will give one for Stagger. I got to start giving more indie titles a chance, but it's not definitely a preference thing. Like, I don't think I'm above indie titles. It's just I have such a massive backlog that I never get into them. But definitely I want to start checking out some indie titles. After Party is one that's kind of enticing me to want to give it a try.
The beauty of a lot of the indie games is you don't have to invest as much time on. I mean, some of them do take a lot of time, but there's a very big portion of them that are shorter games.
So. Yeah, that's what we. I guess that's what I need, is shorter games, because, man, I've got almost 200 hours in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and I still haven't finished it.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, once again, guys, let's go ahead and wrap things up. Sorry about that, Centurion.
No, it's all right. It's all good.
Yeah,
I know I talk a lot.
This goes out. This is good. Don't feed the trolls in the chat. Don't feed the trolls. We're going to leave them where they at. Keep them in the chat. But either way, guys, once again, thank you guys for rocking out with us every single Saturday. We're going to be doing this once again next week. Since you were ending there, let's go ahead and get to you as far as what you got coming up. I know we talked pregame about you having something coming out tomorrow, Centurion. So how's that looking?
Like I said, it's already ready to go. I just got to go on my YouTube channel and let them know that I do not make kid-friendly content. Yeah. There's a story for another day. And then obviously I got to do all my tags, descriptions, and thumbnails, but it's all ready to go. Just for a hint, during my interview with David Preen, he did give a little bit of a cryptic response on the direction of Project Scarlet, because that is the project that he is heavily involved in. And he gave out some good examples on the direction that they're going, and I'm really excited for the console. And also to point out with David Preen, with all the problems that are going on with the Elite version 2, you know, it sucks, but when you sell millions of something potentially, and you got a couple bad eggs, you know, the bad eggs are kind of going to pop out very easily, because that's just how it works. Bad news sells better than good news. But they are taking failures very, very seriously. They've put a lot of testing into them. So the fact that they are having failure issues, it's something that I'm pretty sure it is something so crazy that they couldn't even plan for it. So I'm very curious on what is causing. Apparently, the most common one is the issue that I guess Steger had, that the A button wasn't exactly working right. But anyways, you can always find me right here with you guys, kicking it on Saturday nights on the Shop Podcast. I always do Sunday nights on TXR and Thursday nights on the Saltiest Gaming Podcast. If you always want to just hit me up on social media, you can find me on Twitter at Centurion1307, YouTube at Centurion1307, and also Xbox Live.
All right. Well, once again, man, it's Mr. Consistent here every week. Appreciate you being on the show, man. Once again, thank you, chat. Let's go ahead and throw this over to Stag. Let everybody know what's going on with you, what you got coming up, man.
Just doing the same thing I always do, streaming Monday through Friday, 9:15 Pacific Standard, 8 a.m. till around 12:30, doing the indies. Lots of people have been asking me to stream Star Wars. I'm going to start Death Stranding soon, but I only stream indies, so that's what you get when you come to my channel. You can catch me on Twitch under Staggerilla. You can interact with me on Twitter, same name, Staggerilla. I try and not get too caught up in all the BS and just have fun there and post some interesting conversations, hopefully, and post pictures of my stupid ass walks. And you can find me here every Saturday hanging out with these guys. So that's about it.
All right, man. Once again, as well, appreciate you being here every single Saturday, man. If you guys want to go check out an amazing streamer, just amazing content, you know, wholeheartedly, the man puts on a great show. Very interactive, does a great job, you know, with balancing the stream with the chat. You know, great guy. So go follow him there, man. Trying to get his follows up, get his subscriptions up. So go ahead and check him out, man. Appreciate you once again, Stagger, every single week, man, being consistent. You value added to the show, man, every week. Appreciate you. Last but not least, hope we don't get copyrighted, but Mr. Barry White, aka Fuzzy Belvedere of gaming, man. What was it? It was God damn it! It was a mix between Barry
Ross.
Barry
Barry
Ross.
Ross.
There we go. Barry Ross.
Bob Ross and Barry White.
Bob
Barry
Ross
Ross.
and Barry White. Barry Ross. An amalgamation of the two, man. But what's going on with you, and where can everybody find you at?
Well, you can always find me on Twitter, although I'm probably a little bit more active on my Instagram now, posting some Forza pics and probably just car pics in general, at Fuzzy_Belvedere on Twitter, also Fuzzy_Belvedere. PSN disconnected my PlayStation because the DS4 decided it doesn't want to charge or work or recognize it, so be taking a break from PlayStation for a little bit, but on Xbox Live it's Fuzzy Space Belvedere. But you can always find me here on Saturdays, kicking it with these guys, talking about games. This is, highlight of my week, so I always enjoy coming on here to talk shop.
Let's get it, man. And last but not least, the host with the most PTK Blam across the board. Hit me up on Xbox Live at PTK Blam, as well as on Twitter. Once again, guys, that's kind of we use Twitter as a hub, so that's where you can find all the information, all the stuff going on a weekly basis with all four of us, guys. So check us out there if you want to play some games. Hit me up once again on Xbox Live at PTK Blam. And you guys are amazing every single week. You guys come out, show up, show out. Next week, guys, we will be having a guest on next week for sure. So tune in next week. Hit the subscribe button on your way out, guys. Trying to get to 1,500 subs before the end of the year. Help us get there, guys. We greatly appreciate you guys' help. All the, everything that you guys do, all the tweets, the DMs, every single thing you guys contribute here towards the Shop Podcast, man. So see us here next week, same time, same place. You guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. We are out of here. Peace out, everybody.
Later.